hello, Opulence family.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening, Hervé. Thank you again for being
Oh,
our wonderful host of the evening. And I cannot wait to get this train
thank you very
started. Thank
much.
you.
Rene entrepreneurial journey began in 2007 when he joined Opulence Global as a side hustle while with exceptional determination. He swiftly doubled his annual income of 80,000 within just 16 months. That's impressive, leading him to leave his IT job at a major Canadian telecommunication company. That what followed was truly extraordinary as Rene achieved a remarkable monthly income of 100,000 within with about 7,000 individuals in his organization. Today, his team has grown to over 28,000 individuals across the world in exactly 130 countries. Since he, as, uh, as one of the Opulence top earner, like I said earlier, is the youngest millionaire made by Opulence. Rene enjoys a substantial five-figure weekly, not yearly, but weekly income, and proudly drives a Tesla P90D provided by the Opulence Company Car Club. That's something also we do at Opulence. You can get a car for free with his profound dedication and exceptional leadership. Rene is a founding member, shareholder also, and a valued advisory board member of Opulence Global CEOs. I mean, he also has been twice honored with a prestigious President Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Rene Leo, the youngest millionaire made by Opulence. Now you know why Rene is here, and now you know why you should listen to him carefully. Because if we want to be where he is, we have to listen and take notes and apply. Mr. Rene Leo, the floor is yours, and we
Okay.
will have our eyes and ears wide open to listen and look at you. Thank you, Renelio. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Hervé, for always being such a wonderful host. Looking forward, of course, to seeing you. Actually, for those who don't know, the plan is for myself, Dr. Henry, our LD3 Henry, LD2 Virak, and one of our other LD1s, Denya, to make a trip to Montreal, actually, which is not too far from Ottawa, on May the 3rd. So just a heads up, if you are anywhere within driving distance of Montreal, we are actually finalizing our location there, and we're going to have just the most amazing presentation tour, bootcamp training, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a fantastic event, so stay tuned for that. And of course, Hervé, I know you have amazing multi-language skill set, so looking forward to, of course, seeing you in Montreal the next time around. And of course, for everyone
Yes.
else, yeah, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Hope you all had a wonderful Tuesday. Of course, I know in Asia, good morning to everyone who's in Asia. And what an amazing day I've had today. I mean, we just finished launching one of our newest partners as a lifestyle advisor, and they should be on this call as well too. It's actually one of the new partners on behalf of Jerry, who is he's just a rising star. He's already, I think, brought in about 5 to 6 different partners in his teams. Want to give a quick shout out, of course, to Jerry, who's on the call right now as well too, and of course his newest partner Rufina, who just got launched. And actually, Rufina, she wanted to launch as an LADE on Friday, but she realized, you know what, I better get in now and lock in my position as an LA, and then just upgrade my package later on to the LADE, because of course you still get everything that comes when you upgrade. And so part of my talk tonight was to ask you, if you're not an LADE right now, you might want to look at that and actually doing the upgrade, because of course, again, you get all the benefits that come with the LADE package. Okay, so again, don't miss out on that. because it's a great time to be capturing, of course, all of the products that come along with the LADE package. Actually, Rico, actually, we have our Asia GM here, Rico Kilau. Rico, a question came in and I kind of forgot, which was if someone upgrades from LA or LAP to the LADE, are they entitled to the March Madness? And I think we had that question sometime before, Rico. So if you're still with us there, I know you're probably busy. You're early morning, you're always driving around different parts of the Philippines to support the team. But of course, Rico, if you can throw me a quick shout back for that answer, please do let me know. So Amarjeet says yes, yes. So in fact, if you were again to upgrade to the LADE package, again, you can partake upon the big extra $500 bonus that comes with that. And so I believe that is the answer. Okay. Absolutely insane. Insane, insane. Okay, so tonight's topic, folks, because our CEO actually he is back in Toronto. But of course, whenever you come back from Asia, it's just like massive jet lag. And of course, he has his Persian New Year coming up. So I get the chance of, of course, sharing some amazing training with you again this evening. And I thought that tonight might be a great time to talk about one of the most important skill sets that you really have to develop over time in this business. And that skill set, of course, is what I call handling objections. Handling objections. Because I can promise you that as you spend more time, not just in this business, but in any business that you do, you need to learn how to master being able to overcoming objections. So who here just, quick type in, just say I in the group chat or raise, just give me a thumbs up emoji. How many of you here have ever experienced receiving objections? Okay. So my hand's being raised not because I'm asking you to raise your hands. I'm raising my hands because even I get objections. I get probably just the same, if not more objections, of course, than you might get. But again, the difference between people who are really effective in this business, who can do a lot of sales and launch a lot of partners. Everyone does. And I'm glad to see that everyone is getting tons of objections. And what I learned in a training a long, long, long time ago is if you simply learned the framework on how to handle objections, but beyond that, you learn how to address every single objection and you can master that, and you can only master it as it does take time. Okay, guess what's going to happen to you is that you're going to be able to start closing more deals. You're going to sell more products. You're going to have more partners launching with you. And the third thing is you'll be able to even to hang on the retention of your customers or your partners. So it's very important. And it's not something that you should ever shy away from because again, the more that I love getting questions and or objections. And let me ask you a question first. Why do you think that I love getting objections? Do you think most people might just take a look and say, sign me up without even trying or asking a few questions? It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely, right? So the fact is, when you do get questions or objections, I want you to step one, think to yourself, you know what? It's good that we're getting some feedback because any kind of feedback is better than no feedback. Okay. I do hope you have a paper and pen because I will be sharing with you some pretty important points when it comes to today's training, of course, again, which is all on handling objections. Okay. And so let me just start by giving you guys a framework on how you can handle objections. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to open up the call for anyone here that has perhaps, objections that they've gone through before and they want to ask us or all of the leaders here, how do we handle these objections? Okay. Now, the first thing I would love for you to write down this, okay, on a piece of paper, because if you write things down scientifically, it's meant to stick a lot better. Is one way to look at objections is simply they are unanswered questions. Unanswered questions. And so people can be interesting. Instead of them asking the question that they don't have the answer to, some people's human tendency is to turn it into an objection. But truly and really, they're just trying to ask you a question. For example, someone who might not understand how to, for example, sell the product, they might not tell you, oh, by the way, I don't know how to sell the product. Can you teach me how? They might instead say, well, I can't sell. So really, their objection is not really an objection in that sense. It's more of they just don't know how to do it, or they have something that's blocking their mind. So really, I want you to look at every objection simply as an unanswered question, an unanswered question. But I'm going to take it one step further because there's actually, believe it or not, whenever you hear an objection, okay, or it could be even a question, what we have to do and what you will learn over time it's gonna sound kind of funny, is you have to decipher, is this an excuse that they're making up, or are they genuinely trying to get an answer for something? Because sometimes, people will just say an excuse because they're trying to perhaps, politely tell you no, but they're using an excuse as the reason why they're doing that. It's their way of saying, I'm not interested. Although some people just don't have the ability to be direct. Some people are just like that. They're not direct people. They try to be polite in their own ways, perhaps, and they might use an excuse. And so, one of the things that I've learned, because there's there's questions that are questions. Questions are things like, oh, can you tell me more about how the product works, or how many drops do I take, or what's in Divine, or what makes your gold special, or how does the like these are just questions which are always good. And we have to differentiate again. There's like questions and there's objections, right? And yes, objections are really the mindset to treat objections is like treating it like a question, essentially. But there are going to be questions which we do want, and then you have objections and questions you can always answer. But today we want to focus on handling those objections. Okay, because whenever someone gives you an objection that sounds more like an excuse, less so much of a question, it sounds more like an excuse, it's because there's actually, that's not really what they're thinking about. If someone tells you, oh, I don't have much time, do you think that that's really, let me ask you a question. If you ever heard the objection, I don't have time. Let's just see, raise of hands, say I. Have you ever heard of the objection that I don't have much time? Or another one is I don't have much money. Or I don't have the money to get started. Or I don't have the time. Or I don't know many people. Or I don't know how to talk to people. Okay? So everyone's like, yes, yes, yes. We've all heard it. I've heard it, right? And the funny thing is this, is that, let me ask you, do you think that's really the issue? Or do you feel like that's more of an excuse? Like it's like an easy way to try to not talk about things. Which one do you feel it's more of? Do you feel it's more of, yeah, they probably don't have money, they don't have time? Or do you feel like it's more of an excuse? Let me know what you guys think. Let's get some feedback here, team, because it's gonna be really helpful for you. Mm-hmm. Excuse. Total excuse. Okay. And I'm going to, okay, interesting here. Fedlin says there's truth about it too when they say it. Okay. I was hoping some people would say excuse and some people would say it's the truth. Okay. Um, and Sherry says, "Oh, let me think about it." Okay, so again, I wanted to answer all these objections if I have the time to tonight, but I was really hoping to get responses from all of you that might be on both sides. Okay, and so the way you can determine whether or not it's really an excuse or is it the real reason, I'm going to teach you how. This will make your lives completely easy. If someone were to come to me, okay, and say, or during the closing, they say, "No, what? I don't have much time." Here is a few different ways you can handle this objection. I want to teach you two ways. One way is called the feel, felt, found. It's a three F's. Feel, felt, found. I'm going to type it for you guys, so I hope you always remember this. And there's a psychological reason why we use feel, felt, and found. So what I would do is if someone told me, "Oh, well, Renee, I don't have much time," I would say, "Well, John, you know what's funny is I know how you feel because I felt exactly the same way. I was working a full-time job, working 9 to 5, 9 to 7, 9 to 8. I was tired after work. I didn't have much time for anything else. I had my other commitments. But, but what I found out was that if I didn't put time into a business that could buy me back my time, I would never have time." Wow. So why do you think it's important that we say, "I know how you feel, and I felt that way before"? Why do you think that's important, team? Right? What am I doing with the prospect who's telling me they don't have much time? What am I doing? By saying, "You know what, John, Jane, I know how you feel. I felt that way before because, I had a full-time job. I was a senior programmer working 9 to 6, 9 to 7. I had all my other, commitments. I didn't think I had time for this business." Okay, acknowledging them, good. Uh-huh, they can relate. Yes. Yes, we want to agree sometimes with our prospects, make them feel comfortable, empathy. Okay, here's actually the reason why. Because if people don't feel that you understand how they feel, they have no reason to listen to you. Then it becomes like an argument, right? But once you can use the feel, felt, found technique, you are now relating to them. They now feel like they're here and you're not up here anymore. They feel like you're now eye to eye. Oh, this guy, he knows how I feel. He went through my exact same situation. And now that we have related to each other, now when I say, "But what I found out was dot, dot, dot," now they're listening. Now they're listening. And I love to say that, and what I found out was that if I don't have time right now, I need to do something to buy back my time, to gain back my time. And this was the only business that I could think of that I could put in part-time efforts, get full-time support, and make like a serious five-figure monthly income. Boom, boom, right? Do you guys see how I did that? I said, "John, I know how you feel. In fact, I felt that way before because blah, 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 blah." Because in fact, I did have a full-time job, right? When I started this business, I had my full-time job, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 7, overtime on weekends sometimes. But every day after work, I decided to quit my badminton, quit my golfing, quit my volleyball, quit my going to the gym. I stopped everything. I put all my time into building this business, 100% of my time after I was done work. Yes, if I had some off time, I would still go and party, but my priority became this business because what I found out was is that if I don't have time right now, I need to do something to gain more time. Otherwise, nothing will change. 10 years can go by, I'm still doing the same thing over and over and over again. Simple. I can do the same thing with the objection. I don't have money. John, I know how you feel. In fact, I felt the same way before. I was working at TELUS. I was making $80,000 a year. After paying taxes and my cell phone and my car, I felt like I had no money left behind. I was living paycheck to paycheck, even making $80,000 per year. But what I found out was that if I don't have money right now, I need to do something different in order to be able to make more money. I need to do this business because it's the only business I can do part-time on the side while having full-time support to make a five-figure monthly income. And instantly, you will get people to start thinking differently. Here's another one for no money objection, right? Again, it works well in Canada and the USA because the benefit here in Canada, if you have a full-time job on one side and you have your side business, you can write off all of your expenses, right? So the income that you earn from your business and from your full-time job combines together essentially, and your expenses can write off the income from your job. So in other words, a lot of people, just by having the business and being able to write off all of their expenses, they're saving more in taxes than what they're paying to be in the business. So I could use that as another angle as well too. I love the fact that, if you're buying 950 silver, gold, and diamonds, the value always gains, right? The diamond ring that I bought, of course, for my wife, it's gone up from $30,000 up to now $80,000 in the last, like, we've been married now for surprise question, 15. So Rex's age plus 16 years. Gotta think fast on that, right? And so I hope you understand now the whole feel, felt, found technique. And the other technique that I used was essentially using it against them. If you don't think you have time, then you need this to get more time. If you don't think you have money, then you need this to be able to make more money, right? How about I don't know, I can't sell. You know what, John? I know how you feel. In fact, I felt the same way before. And what I found out was that, because before, I was really shy. And I'm actually telling you the things that is true about me before. I was really shy. I wasn't good at speaking. I wasn't good at, being able to do presentations. And I hated selling. I hated selling because I don't want my friends to think of me as a salesperson. But you know what I found out, John, is that I found out that because we have such amazing products that really help people, that when I shared just the benefits of the product with people that I knew that had the problem, they were all open ears to trying this product. And we have a 90-day money back guarantee. Like, this is so many ways. And in fact, the next time you get an objection, if you don't know how to handle that objection, right? It's okay. You know what you can do? Just ask us next time and start to learn to build up your training on how to handle these things. Because when you do it enough times, right? When you hear objections coming in, you just start answering them left, right, and center, and you get through them all. Okay. Um, so no time, no money. I don't like to sell, like I have no friends, right? So one thing that I do tell people is that, you know what, in this business, if you know, we do things professionally where you're not just trying to target just your friends and your family. In fact, I'm going to tell you straight up right now, if you're in this business and you think that all you need to do is talk to your friends and family to make $1 million income, or if you think that you can't do this business because you don't want to talk to your friends and family, I'm telling you here now that the reason why you're on this training and we have these trainings religiously every week is because we're trying to turn you guys into professional business people. And every professional business does not just rely upon talking to friends and family, right? If you only rely upon talking to your friends and family, your list of people is only going to be what, under 100, max 300 people, right? And that becomes your total business. But if you learn to do the business properly, you learn to hand out brochures and drop cards and go to trade shows and join social networking events, and you realize, oh my goodness, the whole world is your business. I can promise you, I can take any one of our advanced leaders on this call, pick them up, drop them in any country in this world, regardless if they can speak the language or not, and I bet you they can start the business there because they've learned how to do the business, right? So, what I love to tell people is that what we're going to teach you in this business is how to have infinite clientele, and you'll always be busy talking to the next person. In fact, I have all these business cards that I've gone to just a few different events now. And I mean, my time is so busy. I'm still trying to follow up with all these people. I'm told in my day when I'm not supporting the team, I'm trying to find time to follow up with my own prospects, right? But I make my priority my team first, though. Again, only because I've been here long enough, right? In your first 3 to 5 years, stay focused on constantly talking to new people. Okay. So I hope that I've given you a lot of core training so far. Feel, felt, found. And, sometimes people, another technique that I've learned is is called the onion technique. I'm just going to make up this. I don't even know what it's called, but the analogy is like an onion. And an onion has what? Has many layers, right? And sometimes people tell you these objections or excuses because they're really just like layers on the onion. And the real core reason inside that's holding them back is inside the onion. And we need to try to peel back the layers on the onion to find out what's the real thing that is holding you back, that's holding them back, right? So another technique that I mentioned earlier about how to determine if someone is truly giving you an excuse versus they're generally trying to ask a question is this. If someone were to say to me, well, I don't have the money, one question I like to ask is, well, okay, if you had the money, which package would you want to choose? Boom, you'll know right away. Again, Renee, I don't have the money. Okay, well, John, if you had the money, which package would you choose? Or Renee, I don't have the time. Okay, well, John, if you had the time, right? Which package would you choose? Or if you had the time, would you do this business? Now I'm being very direct. I'm trying to just really sort of get into their face and kind of ask them this stuff, right? And you can choose which of those two you felt better. You can do the feel, felt, found, or you can do the if you had the time, if you would you. So the whole technique is called if you would you. So if you had the time, would you do the business? If you had the money, would you do the business? If you had the network, right, and the population to talk to, if you had the network, this is for the people who say I don't know anybody. If you had the network, would you do the business? And so then you'll start to find out. If they say, well, yeah, if I had the money, I'd do it. Now you can proceed on talking about different ways they can start smaller and go bigger, right? But in some cases, they might say something else. They might say, well, no, but we want to ask that question because we want to get the excuses out of the way. If the excuse was, I don't have the time, and you ask them, well, if you had the time, right, would you do this? And they say, well, no, there's something else. Now we're peeling those layers back on the onion. They might tell you, well, you know what? I just don't know anybody, right? Okay, well, if I could show you a way to have a massive network, would you do this business? Well, then again, but you know what? I'm not really sure because I don't think I can sell. Well, if I could teach you a way where you're not selling, but you're sharing, and you're not pissing people off, and you're not annoying people, would you do the business? And you keep going. The if you, would you, right? And so that's how I've done it all these years now. And so a lot of times, I like to do things more in person, but definitely I prefer doing things either face to face or through like a Zoom call where I can hear them. Okay. You know the whole saying, right? I think it's like 95% of all communication is nonverbal. So because you can tell in someone's voice and in their body language how they are, right? Do you all agree that most communication is actually not even verbal? It's like tone, it's attitude, it's posture, it's the body language. Do you all agree that most communication is actually not even verbal? It's like nonverbal, right? And so one thing that I've learned as well, and I hope you can write this tip down, is if you see someone's body language is looking very skeptical, right? Should we come off like as if we just are bouncing off the walls, crazy excited about an opportunity? Do you think that'd be the right kind of, thing to deliver to them? Or do you think if someone was looking a bit skeptical, that we should kind of tone things down a little bit to try to relate to them, but just be a little bit more positive than they are, right? For me, I've always learned to try to match their level, but add one. Match their level, but you add a little bit, right? And all I can tell you is that you can keep practicing and practicing. Because I've seen some people in closings where their prospect, is just, they're just very skeptical, and they don't really seem all into it. But then the person trying to close them is just being so pushy and so pushy. And it's like you're pushing that person further away, right? Remember, we're always trying to match the person's level and just give it a little bit more. But again, a lot of this stuff has to come down to dialogue, right? And so you just over time, I have a whole collection of training on handling objections that I've done. But you know what? We have some time still. I want to open up the chat box and let me know, okay, what are your objections? Now, I remember sharing saying before that the one that she really doesn't like is, well, let me think about it. Okay, let me think about it. Now, I'm gonna break that down because let me think about it. Usually, are they thinking about the business or are they thinking about trying the products? Because to me, my first goal is to let people try the product, right? Either buy the watch or take the FOL or buy the earrings or use a lotion, just to buy the product, right? And so when it comes to trying the product, there's a few amazing strategies that you can use to encourage people, right, to use the product. But of course, that comes down to doing things like the iodine test. And more importantly, did you really get to understand what health issues did the person have, right? And so, and did you give a sample? I had somebody at the networking event last week who, was interested. She had a thyroid issue, imbalanced hormones, and she was, I was just telling her, it's really great for balancing your hormones, blah blah blah. Did the iodine test for her. I said, you know what? Let me give you a free sample, and she tried it. Thankfully, she tried the sample because she told me that she's going to think about it, just like it happened for you, Sherry. She told me, you know what? Let me think about it. I'm gonna get back to you next week. I just sent her a follow-up message on yesterday, actually. She says, you know what? I've got to get some more from you because that same day I've been low on energy for the longest time. And the only thing I did differently was I tried Fountain of Life and it gave me so much energy. I've got to get a bottle now. Another person I met who was actually beside our booth, beside us, um, um, she was selling these pre-packaged soups. You just add water, you boil it. It tastes pretty good actually. 'Cause she was sampling it at the station beside us, and I wanted to support her. I bought like 3 cans of soup, whatever it was, and she didn't buy a bottle yet, but she told me she'd go and talk to her husband. And I think is, what? Whenever someone tells me something like, let me go talk to my husband or let me talk to my wife, here's my goal. Because um, I understand that sometimes people don't want to get in trouble if they go home with something and money could be tight, but they didn't get approval from the spouse. Like, I don't want to be the cause of a spouse getting into an argument, right? I've been there before, I bought things and I come home, I'm like, hey, and she's like, what? So obviously, I don't want to get people in that kind of a predicament, right? So knowing that that day I had helped her do this body scan, I showed her the iodine test, she tried the product, I showed her how this product can help her with her own situation. I've done everything that I could have done, right? Without being pushy. And when she said, let me go home and talk about it, here's what I said. I said, you know what? Yeah, you should. Go home and just talk about it. Take your time to look at it. But and I totally respect that fact that you wanted to talk to your husband and go and do that, you know? Because sometimes in closing, it's called the takeaway. It's called the takeaway, which means that you offer someone the solution, and when they kind of push back too much, you take it away from them. So I'm selling her on this product to help her. She says, you know what, let me go talk to my husband about it. I'll say, you know what, absolutely. You know what, yeah, you should go home and talk to your husband for sure. And that's it. Smile. And I don't look even 1% offended. I don't look, I don't look disappointed. I don't look anything, disgruntled or unhappy. I'm like, you know what? Absolutely, it makes sense. You know what? I would do the same thing if I were you too. I know how you feel. Aha, I know how you feel, right? And let them go. Let them go. Because what can you do? Like keep shoving it down their throat. You know what I mean? And like I don't want to do that. And we don't need to. We have products that people literally, if they don't buy it today, at some point in time, in the next 50 years, I know they'll hear about it again. They probably buy it in the future. But my point though is that same lady though, I actually did my follow up with her. I think it was 2 days ago, and she says to me that she's going to be getting a bottle and she's going to reach out sometime this week, right? But she might say not interested. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is that I want to make sure that I did my job properly, that I followed the process. I did everything I could in a very polite way to show her the power of the product, right? And so someone's asking me about the iodine test. Has everyone here seen the iodine test? If you haven't seen it and you'd like to see the iodine test, just say show me so I can spend some time at the very end of the call. It just shows how quickly Fountain of Life can work at being an antioxidant, essentially. Okay, so I will definitely show you that, Dennis, near the very end of the call today, though. Okay, awesome. I see more people saying, show me. Well, thank you. We'd love to show you guys the iodine test. All right. Um, so, okay, let me see. What are some of your objections or questions that you got, and you want to ask us how to handle those objections? Go right ahead and let me know what objections do you find um, that you want to ask me that and see how others handle it. It's funny. I think another common one. Well, it's weird. It's it's a funny one. Anyone here ever get that pyramid thing? Oh, it's a pyramid. People actually still get that anymore? I think people are just way beyond that. I think 20 years ago when I first got started, even 10 years ago, I got that sometimes. But did anyone here ever still get these weird pyramid questions? Not the ones in Egypt, of course. Wow. So no one here. Amazing. That's great. That means that you're probably doing the right thing and talking about the products first. And this whole thing about this pyramid stuff doesn't even come up, right? Um, okay, so I'm just gonna skip that for now because they didn't even get that. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna answer the first question here first, all right? Giving away a free sample of FOL and how to handle people telling you that they won't try it. There's nothing to handle. There's nothing you can do about that and say, no worries, right? And so, um, usually people that I talk to, because I've told them that it's all natural, it's Health Canada approved, and that when you take it, if you find it bitter, it means that your body is quite acidic, and it'll help you to actually to neutralize your body. Most people that I offer a free sample to, they do want to try it, but there have been times where someone says, "Oh, no, thank you." But you know what happens though? One lady at the last week's event actually said, "No, thank you." But what happened was, I just asked her, is there any particular health concerns that you're trying to address that maybe I can see if this product can help you with? And then she asked me, well, does it help with this, this, and that? And then I showed her all these testimonials of how it does help with this, this, and that. And at the very end again, I said, no, are you sure you don't want to try a free sample? Right? It's all natural. And then she said, no, okay, I'll give it a try. So usually, but it could be that as good as I am, as good as you are at showing the benefit, they just might not want to try, and that is okay. The key thing tonight again is, did you do the best that you could have done in promoting the product? Right? Did you find their problem? Did you show how Fountain of Life can fix that problem? Did you show them testimonials of other customers that had the same issue? And did you do the iodine test, for example, right? If you did all that stuff, then there's nothing else that you could have done. All right, and just do another follow up. All right. Send them, so by the way, before you go, can I get your contact information to send you a bunch of research and testimonials? Great, wonderful, right? Now you add them to your forensic box, which is our training system. And then every few months, you want to send them a text message, send a new testimonial, some studies, and keep the follow up going, right? I had people who have known this product since like 6 years ago and only started buying it from me like this year. So that's like what, like 7 years of follow up, right? That's just part of the process. Okay, Fidelin? One objection is they say it's like Arbonne or Amway. I would just sometimes kind of if the objection is actually a positive thing, like they like that, I say, well, yeah, it's even better than that. But if they were like saying it in a very negative way, I would say, well, what do you mean by that, right? So I would ask them what they mean because I don't know what they don't like or like about Arbonne or Amway. So I would just kind of play dumb and say, well, sorry, what do you mean by that? Like, what is Arbonne and Amway? And again, because right now they threw a giant onion at you, and you're like, what's that supposed to mean, right? I don't know what that means. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know, right? And so by asking them, well, sorry, what do you mean by that? Now we can peel the layers back on the onion to find out what was it about the Arbonne or Amway that they didn't like about it. And it could go in a million different angles, right? Well, it's because, yeah, they keep hounding you or like whatever is their issue, you've got to find out what it is and address it. And say, well, no, that's not what we are. We're much different, right? And explain a few things. Does that make sense? Okay. Only my problem, no one like to share what I have. Only my problem, no one like to share what I have. Okay, well, um, if you're referring to your friends don't want to help you share what you have, then maybe you can financially incentivize them, right? But again, that's why we are the ones who are getting paid to share because we are the distributors. We are the marketing arm of the company, right? It's our job to go and share the products, right? So we can't expect our friends and family to share, but what you can do is ask for referrals, right, from your current customers, right? And it's easier for your customer to refer people because they're already using the product. If you're expecting someone who's not even in the business, who's not even using the product to share what you have, Yeah, most people aren't that generous, right? But if they're your customers, just ask them, by the way, can you think of one or two people that can really benefit from Fountain of Life like you have, right? And boom, now your list is growing, your business is growing again. Okay. Larry says, is that network marketing? Sorry, what do you mean by that? Right? Again, is it network marketing? Is like throwing a big giant onion at you. I have no idea. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Right? I would say, I would ask them, well, is that what you're looking for? Yes. Well, wonderful. You know what? I think it is, and it's amazing because we're actually marketing with our network. If they say, no, I hate network marketing, I say, well, why is it that you don't like network marketing? It sounds like you have a story. Like what happened back in the days? We have to find out again what is the hold up. What is their thing about network marketing that they like or they don't like? And we had to ask questions, right? So in a very calm way, right? Well, so what? What is that? Are you looking for network marketing? Or what do you mean by that, right? Did something happen to you in the past that you don't like network marketing? Yeah, I hate the fact that you just sell to your friends. Well, that's not what we are because in our business, we're a professional business, and you don't have to sell to your friends. We have incredible social media templates. We have amazing training to show people how they can have just infinite amounts of free client of clients just by attending different trade shows and seminars and dropping off drop cards and like there's so many ways to build it without talking to just your friends and your family, right? But beyond that, like if you had something really good, right? What I found though about FOL is that our products are so amazing that once people hear how it can help them with their problems, they want to try it. So I'm not even really selling. I'm just sharing. And if all you did was just share a few testimonials, on your social media, or to someone that has an issue, you know what? They're going to thank you because this product here has helped change millions of lives. Like we have to find out what is it that is in their mind that's blocking them, right? Because most people, again, they will agree that if you have something so powerful that can help the world, you should share it. Why would you be greedy and keep it to yourself, right? Okay. I've been a user. Okay, okay. Is this okay? Yeah, is it a pyramid, right? Again, same answer. Well, like, what do you mean by that? Like, because some people don't mind pyramids, but they like there's pyramid structure, then there's pyramid scams, which are not good. But we don't know. It's a big giant onion, right? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing for you? Like, are you referring to it as a scam, or are you just referring to it as the structure, right? So today, actually, I was we went to this Korean grocery store called H Mart. Me and Heidi, yeah, we had this craving for Korean food. I don't know, and I bought like a bunch of kimchi and bulgogi and kalbi, all this stuff, right? And guess what? We bumped into a friend of mine that I've known like over like 15 years ago, but we completely lost touch. Yet she's been following me on social, so she knows everything about me and the kids. And like I don't know anything about her because she hasn't been posting anything. And eventually she's talking about like, wow, you're so lucky you can travel all the time and you're trying all the different kind of foods, right? I'm like, yeah, you know what? I was telling her that I really love what I do because being a cubicle, being a programmer was really not my thing. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you know what I do, right? She's like, yeah, it's one of those pyramid things, right? And so I go to her, I say, well, like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, oh, like, you have like a big team below you, right? And I said, yeah, yeah, exactly. So I said exactly. And I said, however, and it's just funny. I said, however, I think the biggest pyramids are actually the ones in Egypt. And she kind of laughed. But then I said, but in all reality, I think the biggest pyramids are actually the corporate jobs. Like my old job as a programmer, like I had my salary, the manager made more, and then the VP made more, and the CEO made the most money. That's a true pyramid, right? And so, again, she didn't have an issue with the pyramid structure. And when I told her that my team's about 30,000 people now in about 110 countries, and as people are buying and selling products, I get a commission. She's like, wow, that's amazing. But some people, if they got that objection, is it a pyramid? You might be telling yourself the wrong story in your own head. Don't do that, right? we have to think of it as a big onion, and we don't know what's the real meaning in asking that question. So just ask it back. Well, what do you mean by that? Right, guys? Like I hope this training, if this training is helping you a little bit, show some love, please. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job. Okay, great. They say because they are okay. Okay, yeah. So Fallon says gray is because they are skeptical ingesting a product they just heard of. Again, you know, that's understandable, right? And that's why I always put like when me and Henry do our trade shows, it's funny, he's even trying the product himself. So every morning we do this, boom. And so in one trade show, we might end up drinking like one whole bottle ourselves, right? But again, the key thing is that they realize it's a natural product, all natural, Health Canada approved. And I tell them, in fact, you eat lignans on a daily basis. You already eat what's inside this bottle. You eat vegetables, you eat fruits, you drink coffee, you drink beer, you drink wine, juice, orange juice, apple juice. They all contain lignans, flax seeds, right? Sesame seeds, right? We just have the most purest source of lignin. So you are already consuming what we already sell, but we have a more pure version, a much more powerful version. And most of the cases, Fedolin, they're like, you know what? Wow, okay, I'll try a sample, right? Okay, just try it in front of them, and they'll realize, okay, maybe I should try it too. All right. Um, okay, let's see here. Actually, most they like, but they don't want to spend. They want to be sponsored. Okay, so I don't know what that means by they want to be sponsored. Like, end of the day, if you want the health benefits of this product, like I have one guy, it's funny. There's one guy, he did, I guess, let me just check to see if he might be on this call. Okay, no. The reason why is because this person apparently, I talked to my team a lot, and this person had seemed to have tried to go behind different people to buying the product and trying to get a cheaper price. And anyways, um, they kept saying how, you know what, the product here, like just talking about the prices and that. I just held my ground. Like, look, end of the day, the retail price is $84 plus tax, or you can join it as a member and buy it cheaper. It's one of the two choices, right? So sometimes, if people just don't want to spend it, it also means that sometimes they don't really see the value yet, and just keep sharing testimonials. And one thing that I always love to share is that, look, a lot of people who want to get the benefits, of total health, they might end up buying 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8 different products just to get the full body benefit. And even then, you don't have the full body benefit. What I love about Fountain of Life and Divine is you buy even just one bottle or two bottles, even to buy just Fountain of Life, just one bottle, you have the total package for your overall body health. It's absolutely insane. So if price is the objection, I'll say, you know what? Number one, you can't put price on health because without health, wealth is nothing. And second of all, is that our product is actually really affordable if you think about it, because if you were to spend all this money buying 10 different products, to have the full body health, it'll cost you a few $1,000s. Buying just one bottle here, boom, your whole body is taken care of. And that's how you can answer the objection about price as well, too, okay? Um, yeah, so Doris, if they're taking other education or other health supplements, they don't want to switch. Again, I would just use the whole price comparison, right? I would say, look, so what are you taking? Again, find out. Okay, well, I'm taking vitamin C, the vitamin D, I'm taking that, taking that. Well, you know what? I said all those things here, and what you're trying to achieve for your sugar and your cholesterol and your blood pressure. Guess what? One bottle here, Fountain of Life, can do the same work as all 5 or 10 of your other products. But the only way you're going to find out is you have to try it, right? So what I would do is stop taking all those things for like 5 months and just get on FOL, 90-day money back guarantee, and then you will know. I will even push the question back on them, like, how do you know that it's really doing the best thing for you, right? I just shown you 100 testimonials of how Fountain of Life can do 100 different things, right? We have scientific studies showing over 70 different scientific benefits of Fountain of Life. Why don't you give this a try? And then you'll really know, right? Is this product really working uh, 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 in equivalent or more than your other, combination of products, right? And now you can save money, right? And so, for example, if they say, well, I need my vitamin this and this and that, that, that. I said, well, sometimes, if you're taking these products and you're still deficient, The main problem is that your body is not absorbing these things, your gut. And Fountain of Life can really improve your gut health to absorb these other supplements even better. But if I were you, you know what? I would just stop taking those for 3 to 6 months, just buy Fountain of Life and give it a try. Then you'll really know which one works for you. All right, that's what I would do. Uh, oh, I meant they're taking medication, don't want to work. Again, um, taking medication and taking Fountain of Life are irrelevant. Like, unless the doctor says by taking medication, you cannot eat natural foods, which means you can't eat vegetables, you can't eat fruits, you can't eat anything natural, then yeah, they probably shouldn't take FOL. But if they can eat vegetables and fruits and chicken, steak, if they can eat basically, Fountain of Life is all natural. They're again, and I would tell them, what the best way to find out is bring this product to your doctor and ask them for their advice. Legally, we cannot tell them no that they should stop taking their medication. Never do that. Just say, why don't you go and bring this brochure to your doctor and ask them, right? And just be wary that your doctor might not understand what lignans are, because most of them don't even know that. Just tell them that the most similar thing is like flax seeds. And most doctors will tell you, yeah, flax seeds are great for you, but take it an hour apart from your eating. So again, the whole thing with taking medication, it's like saying you shouldn't drink water or eat lettuce. Like it's all natural, right? Okay. That oh my God, I'm trying to make sure I go through all these objections here. It's all 9:57 already. Oh my goodness. Okay.
And
Thank you,
Rene, we have
Sam.
two questions in the Q&A too.
Okay. And by the way, folks, tomorrow morning, if you want to talk about these kind of questions, we have an amazing session called the Fountain of Life and Divine Testimonial call tomorrow morning. At what time, folks? Of course, 8:30. I think it's 8:30 still a.m. tomorrow morning. And don't miss of course, that session with, of course, our nurse Jazz, and of course with Dr. Seymour. Thank you, of course, to Jazz, Dr. Seymour, and of course to TCM Henry Xiong for always doing those calls for us every single Wednesday morning. Okay. Someone asked me, how much would I earn from this business? I don't know how to give a short answer. Okay. If anyone ever asks you, how much can you earn? The best response is, you know what? Um, the earning depends on how hard and how smart that you work. But let me show you the different ways of earning money. So show them that the compensation plan. Don't never tell someone how much they can make, right? You can tell them how much is potentially you can make, but it depends on your efforts in the business. But let me show you how the different ways to pay you. There's retail profits, there's wholesale profits, there's commission boost, there's variance bonus, there's the fast start bonus. They go through one by one because again, if someone wants to know how to truly make money in the business, they have to understand the compensation plan, right? Just because you can make money or I can make money doesn't guarantee that they can make money, right? But what guarantees them is if they have hard work and they use a system and they understand the compensation plan. So the best answer is, if you want to understand whether or not you can make money, let me show you the compensation plan, and you can think about which one you want to focus on and which one without we can actually train you on. Okay. Um, when you say sample, okay, when I say sample, then I mean literally get the bottle of Fountain of Life and just put 5 drops into a spoon and just like give them a free taste. That's what I mean by sample. Okay. So the iodine test is how we show people how effective Fountain of Life can be. So here we have just water. Okay, there's water here. And again, what happens here is water. Here I have on the side with me, it's called iodine. Okay, in this bottle, it's a Fountain of Life bottle, but I put iodine inside. Okay, iodine is an oxidizer, right? And just the same way that we have oxidation. So again, free radicals, right? When we smoke, when we drink, this is like your blood in your body, right? When we have stress, lack of sleep, eating processed foods, fried foods, there's 5G, there's Wi-Fi, there's pollution, pesticides, there's stress, and we get angry, and then we don't sleep enough. Now, literally, our body is also being oxidized. The same way rust happens on a car, how your apple turns bad, the same thing's happening to our body. This is called oxidation, right? So of course, um, what you want to do is you want to have an antioxidant. Okay, so here I have a bottle of Fountain of Life, and this is going to show you how we can, again, this over time if you don't take care of the oxidation of free radicals, it can lead to things like cysts, nodules, tumors, and cancer, and eventually even because your blood is just polluted, right? So with an antioxidant, it's called we just put one drop, okay, one drop here, and let's see what happens, right? Immediately, when you put even just one drop, right? That's how powerful of life is. It's starting to again to essentially to cleanse your blood, to neutralize those free radicals, right? I just another maybe two more drops here, okay? You can see, I keep on stirring it, that water is getting clearer. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that, and clearer. Just 3 drops, right? And now, again, we're showing people how quickly the fountain of life works in taking the oxidation. So again, iodine, okay, is purple by color, okay? And when you add electrons to iodine, iodine, you add electrons, it becomes iodide. You actually negate it. So iodide, and iodide is clear in color. So again, free radicals are cells that are missing an electron, and the goal is antioxidants' goal is their molecules packed with electrons to donate electrons to the free radicals to neutralize them to have healthy cells again. So we're showing how the electrons from fountain of life convert iodine to iodide, and essentially it's repairing your body. Okay, so that's the iodine test, and I do that all the time. Like in our trade shows, we have like big banners and stuff, and that was last week's training call. But we do that all the time in almost all of our meetings. All right, so folks, thank you so much for being on the call tonight. I hope you guys had a great session and you guys learned something new. And if you have more questions, please contact your My5. Let us help you, right? If you're brand new, especially, don't try to do everything on yourself, even though we love you being independent, but reach out to your My5, let us help you, and you can learn as you go along and become superstars, just like everyone else has, of course, in our leadership in the company. So yeah, I turn the call back to our amazing host, Hervé. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been an awesome time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Renee. Thank you very much to our partners, to our guests who were in the call. Have a great night. Have a great day. And see you to the billion. Bye bye.
Good night to the billion. Bye, everyone.